Hello, hello. Um, we are back for this next week worth of live streams. We're going to look at Brihat Samhita and see what Varahamihira has to say about what the individual planets signify. Now, half of what he assigns to each planet is particular country, particular towns and everything that existed 1500 years ago but don't really exist today, most of them. And it would just be a lot of slow going to try to figure out that stuff and make sense of that stuff. So we're going to skip that stuff and look at the other things that he says are signified by each planet. So let's do it. Okay, so he starts with the sun. And he says the sun represents the wilderness, which is interesting, right? Now, it's also too slow going for me to comb all the Sanskrit on this, but I'm looking at two translations. One says wilderness, one says deserts. So when you think of what kind of wilderness the sun represents, it's probably not jungles. It's probably hotter, drier, more fiery, more sunny areas. So I could see deserts being the more accurate translation. What do we got after deserts for the sun? Shepherds, seeds. So the herdsmen are the shepherds. Why? Here it's to my. I'm just telling you to my mind. He's talking about the people who lead other people, right? The people who lead other things. So the sun is very much about leading, directing, organizing. He says it has to do with grain that has to be husked. Don't know why. He says it has to do with pungent substances. I don't know why, but I would say that's about acids. Sun is productive of acids, so in foods and tastes you get more acidics. And he says trees. I think it's because trees are wood. Wood is this helps build the structure of things, and that's what the sun is all about. It sets up the structure of things. Basically, the sun is the governor, the structure giver. Gold, obviously, amongst the precious metals, sun will be gold because of the color. Also, maybe the value. Fire, obviously, poison. Heroes, this is a good one. Heroes. The sun is like a king or a champion or a leader. So what you get is the sun is a king, a leader, an organizer, and a hot thing. And what else does he say? He says medicines. He says medicines and physicians. So that's interesting because the sun is the basis for health. Basically, the sun signifies health, so he's indicating some things that have to do with health. He's indicating four-legged animals. Let's see how this will compare to the other planets, what he does for the other planets. He's indicating four-legged animals, plowmen, kings, evildoers also. What do we have here for evildoers? Evildoers seems to be a mistranslation there. Hang on. Medicines, physicians, four-legged, farmers, kings. Evildoers on the one, butchers on the other translation. So I think, and then at the end he's also going to say cruel people. So what you get is the sun is harsh. So it's in terms of personality traits, the sun represents harsh harshness or not necessarily rigidness, but extreme clarity, extreme harshness, extreme straightforwardness, extreme decisiveness. So when you have a personality that's kind of over decisive. What else? Okay. You got any questions about the sun? About what Varahamihira has said about the sun? He's basically saying it's going to be the leader, the organizer, the thing which is central, the thing which gives structure. He's going to say it has to do with health and people that deal with health. And it's quite strict. Let's see what you guys got. Is any liquid the sun? He says pungent. And anything. It's not really a liquidy planet. It's a fiery planet. Amongst the liquids, probably those that have a astringent or pungent taste would be sun quality in liquids. Any acids are sun. Maybe the kind of cooking oils and things. Pungent is not really herb related. Pungent means the oniony garlicky taste. I guess you can call those herbs, but they're technically not. Nan wants to know if the sun is malefic or benefic. The sun is malefic, but do you even know what the difference between a malefic and a benefic is? That's a bigger question. It's Krura and Somya. It's much more reasonable to use the terms Krura and Soma. The sun is harsh, strict, and ruling, so therefore it's Krura, or what so-called malefic. It doesn't mean it's bad, it means it's harsh and strict. Shall we move on to the moon? How's this Facebook stream? I'm trying the built-in camera. It seems like it might be skipping around. Somebody there wants to let me know if it's annoying. No, I don't follow Islam. All right, now let's go to the next. Next thingamajig. Next planet is Moon. Mountains. Well, this is interesting. So he gives a couple of places first. Mountains, fortresses, forts protected by moats. Islands in the great ocean. Sweet things. Flowers, fruits, water, salt, jewels, conch shells, pearls, aquatic products. Rice, barley, herbs, wheat as well. That's interesting. Let me check the translation on that. Soma drinkers. Let's see what that is all about too. Brahmins, that's also interesting. This is so interesting. White objects, beloved, the beloved, horses, lovers, young women. That's also interesting. Commandants, eatables, clothes, horned animals, demons, agriculturists, and persons acquainted with sacrificial rituals. Let's just see what's listed in the other translation, how they gave this one. Citadels fortified by hills or water. That's how they put it. So citadels is very interesting. The sea, sweet juice, flowers, fruits, water, salt, gems, conch shells, pearls, creatures of water, paddy, barley, medicinal plants, and wheat. Somayajis, king attacked in the rear. Oh, no. This is a bad translation. And Brahmins, fine white horses, charming young women, commanders of armies, articles of food, clothes, horned animals, rakshasas, farmers. Rakshasas, there we go. All right, so let's parse this out and see what he's saying. Basically, okay, so the first thing about citadels is very interesting. The moon is got privacy to it and secrecy to it. So it's domestic. So your citadel is a place which is protected from other people. Even if it's your apartment or wherever, it's your protected private space. That's what the moon represents. If you don't have any citadels, then it's just things that have to do with water, basically, and oceans, and also sweet flavors. So the sun is the spicy flavor and the moon is the sweet flavor. It's different than some other paradigms, but here's your basic. This is what Varahamihira is saying here. So stuff that you get from the water, what kind of stuff do you get from the water or from water? You get fruits and flowers. You get water itself. The moon is water itself. We didn't hear that with the sun. And you guys asked if the sun is any liquid. The moon is the liquid. So you get salt from the water too. Salt is so amazing. How it corresponds to people with prominent or active moons and how they like salty food. So it says sweet things, right? Let me check this on the other one. Sweet juice. This is better than sweet things. So in other words, sweet juice is more like flavor. Because it's not really sweet. It's Jupiter, which is sweet. Moon is salty. But the moon also involves all of the flavor. It's like the basis, because it's water. It's the basis for all of the flavors. And this is why salt will bring out any flavor. You put salt on any type of food and that flavor in it comes out more. Jewels, conch shells, pearls, aquatic products. Then he says rice. See, now this was interesting to me because with the sun he said husked grain. So I was thinking, well, this means rice and wheat and every kind of grain that you have to separate from a husk. But seems to me that he means the sun represents the grain which has been processed already, which is already processed. It's already been husked. Whereas the moon represents the growing crop. But it is interesting that he gives... See, everybody gives rice to the moon, says that the moon is ricey. And you may think this is ridiculous, like who cares? But it's pretty important for if you want to balance somebody's health or suggest them a diet or something. If you see sun in balance, you don't want to suggest that they eat more breads and wheats. And if you see moon in balance, you don't want to suggest they eat more rice and salt. But here, he's kind of broken that mold, and he said that the moon represents both rice and wheat. Usually, I've always seen it split where the sun is wheat and the moon is rice. Now, he goes on to he says Brahmins, which is interesting because basically the moon is Vaishya, not Brahmin. So what do we have in the other one? Brahmins. So it's got to be because the moon is emotional and introspective that it's favorable to Brahmins. Why then is it often called Vaishya? because it's very desirous. The moon is the seat of desire. And so it's the basis for financial development. But here he's giving it to Brahmins, thinkers. And he says it has to do with lovers, lovable things, beautiful things. That's the moon, especially young women. He's got the moon signifying women and not older women, young women. That's a little bit interesting. Often we separate Venus and moon by saying the moon is a kind of older, more mature woman, and the Venus is a younger woman. Let's see what he says about Venus when he gets there. Now, it's also interesting. Okay, he does say agriculturists, so he's also saying Vaishya, especially people that use water to make things grow, that type of Vaishya. So he's got Brahmins are one possibility with the moon, and agriculturalists are the other possibility. So thinkers are agriculturalists, Brahmins are Vaishyas. And demons, Rakshasas especially, it means natural spirits. And horned animals, dangerous animals. Don't forget that the moon is a nighttime planet, so it does represent some nighty type of things. Any questions? Moon questions? Let's see what you got here. Some people don't have questions. Nobody's got questions. No questions? You're welcome, Teeny. Alright, then we're going to go and look at Mars. What he says for Mars. Here comes Mars. You got a couple questions. Hey, Eric. Are opiates Moon or Neptune? There's no such thing as Neptune in this system. Opiates are nodal affairs, probably K2. What if the moon has the highest dignity in a chart, but it's in a bad position? Then it makes good work out of the bad place. All right, but now on to Mars. Mars presides over people. Let's see, we're going to skip the countries things. Tons of countries from Mars. Okay. Citizens. What does that mean? Townspeople, citizens. Interesting. Okay, citizens, townspeople, farmers. Interesting. Chemists, firemen, soldiers, forestmen. Citadels, chief towns, killers, proud people and pride. Different kinds of killers. King's children, elephants. King's children, elephants. Fops means a hypocrite. And red things, commanders of armies, wine, and the cruel. Man, there's a lot of interesting things here. There's still more, actually. Fires, metal mines, Buddhists, thieves, rogues, people who have of the vengeance-driven people and passion-driven people. It was really interesting. So some of the things that some of the things that are difficult to digest about what he says about Mars. Let's look at that first. He says, was farmers. Why would Mars be farmers? It's fire. And it's Kshatriya, not really. It's Kshatriya and it's farmers. I mean, why is he saying that it's farmers? That's one of the questions. Hey, Bill. So, I don't know if we can sort this out. Well, what I would say is that Mars is basically... The overarching theme of what he says about Mars is that it's going to kill you. He says it's got a lot of... It uses a lot of weapons. It's very fiery, biting, and sharp, right? So when you deal with farming, you have to do plowing. So what I would bet is that the plow itself and the act of plowing and probably some of the semi-violent things that you have to do to grains after you harvest them, and the kind of tools that you have to use to harvest, they're all really sharp metal things. See, the backbone of what he's saying about Mars is that it's metallic, sharp, dangerous, and hard. And so that does apply a bit to farmers. But I don't think that the act of like watering the field, planting the seed, maybe planting the seed, but especially not watering the field and growing the crop is not the Mars aspect of farming. It's the moon aspect of farming. So that's how I would digest that. Citizens, he says, that's something that we usually attribute to Saturn, right? Regular people, the masses. But he's putting regular people. Let's see what he says when he gets to Saturn. But for now, he's put it with Mars. Chemists, firemen, soldiers. Okay, so you get it. People that are gonna use sharp weapons. People that are gonna use dangerous things. Good. That's basically the digestion of Mars. Got any questions about it? Hey, Fuzz. Half caste, spiraling dream. Well, half caste is a sutta or a mix. So you get, so for example, if one type of person marries or doesn't marry, but just makes a child with another type of person, like if an intellectual makes a child with a merchant, or if a merchant makes a child with a manager type, or a governor type, or warrior type, those are going to be half castes. So I think what this also shows you is that Mars has a rash passion to it. And Mars has a rule-breaking nature to it. That's also prevalent through the whole thing of the list of things that Mars represents. Mars has a rule-breaking nature to it. Mars has a do its own thing nature to it. Mars has a dangerous nature to it. Mars is also cruel. Mars is metallic, sharp. Those are the things that we got. Hey, Bill. So yeah, so that's it then. We're going to end this and stick around for a second. We're going to do the Bhagavad Purana next in like a couple of seconds. Just wanted to know, Bill, if you're still there, is this video skipping on Facebook? Because my little monitor on it is skipping. All right, guys, so stick around two more seconds. We'll switch over and we're going to see on the Bhagavatam, what are we up to? Yes, the greatest chapters in the whole first section. We're going to see how we're going to have Kunti's monologue to Krishna. That's what we're going to look at today. It's going to be good. See you there.